this episode of the AI Show. My name is Seth Juarez. I'm so excited that you're here. How's everybody doing? First of all. Second of all, I was thinking about this the other day, and maybe you can help me out. I have this idea in my head of the things that I do with AI and things that I think it's good at, but I'm continually surprised by some of the things I'm seeing like customers do. And I'm interested, maybe we should come up with a forum or something where folks can put in their ideas of things that they'd like to have done with AI or things that they are doing with AI. And if there's interesting enough stuff, maybe we'll have you on. We've had other people on that are not Microsoft folks. But that's just something that I've been curiousing. I don't think that's a word. I don't think that's a word. But I've been curious about since I've been doing the show, and I'd love to have folks come on and tell us a little bit about what they're doing. Okay, so today let's bring up this little doohickey. Today we have a couple of things. The first, and this is important, number one, Agentic Retrieval with Pablo. Now, every time I have Pablo Castro on, and we recorded this just the other day, so this is all new information. I was floored with some of the stuff that they're doing that makes what's going on in the space of like RAG or Agentic Retrieval actually really good. Because the reality is here, let me go to my face here. The reality is none of this stuff works without good data. These models, at least in my estimation, are very good at like looking at text and making more text. But if you do not ground them in truth or facts, then they're not going to do so well. So that's just my take. So that's the sound. I don't know if that's the right sound effects. Oh, hold on. I can say this better. I can say it better. None of this stuff works without good data. And so that's why I think what Pablo's going to talk about here coming up is actually soups important, to use the vernacular of somebody. I don't know. So this is the first one, number one. And then now number two. Number two, we're going to talk about KUA, computer use agent. Now this one I struggled with because I've always wondered like why. If I have an AI to click on a computer screen to do other things, it feels like I'm riding a bike on a treadmill on the back of a truck to get somewhere faster. Right? I mean, that's what was my thought. But then Eliza helps us out and shows us how this could be useful. I don't want to give too much away, but like, imagine a scenario where you do not have an API, but you need to put something into some old school thing and you need to automate that. That's a really good use case. But Eliza's going to show us how in Copilot Studio you can totally do that. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. Okay, so Agentic Retrieval with Pablo first, and then KUA agent inside of Copilot Studio with Eliza Benitez. All right, so let's do this. Let's start off with Pablo. Take it away. You're not going to miss this episode of the AI Show where we talk all about Agentic Retrieval in Azure AI Search with my friend Pablo. Make sure you tune in. Hello and welcome welcome to this episode of the AI Show. We're talking all about agentic retrieval in Azure AI Search with my friend Pablo. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Good to be here.
It's been a while since you've been on.
It's been some time, yeah.
I know. So for people that don't know who you are, but tell us who you are and what you do.
So these days we're working on, still in retrieval for how to connect these agents with external data. And this time around, one of the things we worked on most recently is agentic retrieval, which is, we're learning how to use agents for solving many problems. And one of them is how to retrieve better. So we're using a lot of the agentic stuff on our own systems.
And that's cool because I always tell people, again, you tell me what you think, but I never use LLMs without putting the right information somewhere in the prompt, because I feel like you're not doing it right if you're not doing that, first of all.
Yeah. Unless you want to chat with the model, which is maybe, I guess, is fun in some cases. But if you want to get something done, often you need external data and you put into the prompts. Yeah.
So we've talked before on earlier shows about vector search and vector embeddings and how we have a re-ranker. There's semantic cool stuff. But what is the newest thing and what problem is it solving? Let's start with that.
Yeah. So we've done all this work on vectors and re-ranking and all of that to improve the quality of grounding data. That's in the end, the job to be done is you or an agent has a question, you want the best data to answer that question. I feel that there's always room to improve, but we are hitting diminishing returns on how good can we get at single shot retrieval. So now there are some questions that no matter how good you are in a single instance of retrieval, you just can't answer. So for example, let's say you have a product catalog and you or your users want to say, hey, should you pick product A or product B if this is the thing that matters to me? Well, unless you have documents that have all the comparisons between every product pair, there is no one document that has this answer. So the typical RAG pattern of finding the best candidate document doesn't work because, maybe you get lucky and you get a document from each, but a search that talks about both documents is not really easy to satisfy with any one document in particular. So what you want in that case is the retrieval system to understand that that's a bifurcated question, where the strategy for that is to break it off. And that's one of many cases where decomposing the query into multiple parts and understanding what is the information need expressed in the original question is important. Because if you understand it, then you can grab all the pieces individually and then collect them together yourself.
No, and that makes sense. And the other thing is that there is this nuance in a conversation that, for example, when I did this the first time, because I did a Contoso chat eons ago, it feels like, it was basically the last thing they said, which grounded everything, and that might not have been nuanced enough.
That's right. There's a lot of information in the conversation. Sometimes it's a little extra, and sometimes it's just fundamental because the last question alone just doesn't say anything because people assume that the conversational context carries over. Right. So to do a good job, you need to understand the question and you need to understand how you got to that question.
Yeah, that's true. So how are we solving this with the latest agentic retrieval?
So what we did is we evolved Azure Search we still have the search API, and in many scenarios that's the thing to do. But on top of that, we added this idea of knowledge agents. So what you do is you tell us these are the indexes, the Azure Search Index that you want to target, and you also give us a pointer to a language model. We give you a few options to pick from. And what we do at runtime is we take not just a search. You can give us a search or you can give us your chat history, maybe the last few turns of the chat, right? And then we will do this for you. We will, working with LLMs, we will decompose the question into a query plan, and then we'll fan out the plan to multiple search executions, and then we'll look at what we got back, assemble a response, and give you the response back to you.
And that's really cool. But I feel so. Let me see if I understand this, because I think you brought a diagram. So if we can get that up there so people can look at it. Is basically this thing just taking the query and using an LLM to rewrite the query based upon the conversation history, or is it more than that? But maybe walk through it here again for us.
Yeah. So think of this as we get a user query and also conversation, all the conversation terms, those are optional. And then we take all this information and we use this query planning piece, which is based on an LLM, to effectively ask the system to produce a plan. We did a lot, we did a bunch of work to calibrate the right prompts for this and whatnot, and we have a bunch of kind of evaluation data to ensure this works well. So what the query planning phase does is it yields, one or multiple queries, often multiple, that then we can go run in parallel, and each of them represents a different aspect of information need that in the end, when you put them all back together, represents the full grounding information.
I see. So is it literally just like saying, here's a bunch of queries you should run, or is it more nuanced than that? And when I say it says, I mean the LLM.
Yeah. Think of it that at the end this is a decomposition of all the queries into multiple smaller queries, and then we run them all together and then collect the results. And of course, we do this in parallel and whatnot, so it's fast.
So it's basically looking, the LLM gets an entire chat history, and it looks like what is the actual question? But is it more than just like it deciding what to do? Can you tell me a bit about the nuance that it picks up and how it does that?
Yeah, I mean, I have an example here. Sometimes you have I guess depends on the scenario. Sometimes you have, for example, comparisons questions, like I said before. So it's more of you want to bifurcate the query. Sometimes it's more nuanced. A few examples. This is from a real data set where first, when people say, what does KB number mean? Actually, if you looked back in the chat history, they were talking about this being a security hotfix. So to look for it in the security database. And then there are actually kind of two questions there, because it says, what's the fix and what is the system's, what is the patch for? And the patch is kind of a local core reference to the hotfix, but you need to understand that if you split the query. And the other thing that we also piggyback into this is, since we're fully reading the context, we can do things like spelling corrections or variations of words much more contextualized, because we have the full sentence, so we offer something like that.
Yeah, and this is really cool because I'm starting to recognize it's not just a straight query rewrite from an LLM. It's basically not as now I'm understanding why there's multiple, because you're able to catch nuance under multiple queries that then get used for grounding.
Yeah, that's right. We do piggyback a lot of this in a single LLM call, so that it's faster and more economic. But we do query planning, we do paraphrasing, we do spelling correction, all of those things in one go to an LLM.
Oh, so it's actually economical as well.
We try.
Yeah. So is there a way you can show this, what this looks like in code for folks that want to do this?
Yeah, let's do it. So I have a simple example here where what I did is, let me show you the data we're working on. I actually stole this from you, Seth.
Yes.
By the way, this is the Contoso Outdoors.
If you don't know, I had an LLM generate a lot of that stuff too. So
that's perfect. So we're going full circle. So
that's right.
These are all product descriptions of outdoors products, like tents and things like that. So what we'll do is, I have this simple notebook that what it does is it's set up for both regular search and agentic retrieval. So if you look at the last turn, like to the example you had before, the last turn of a conversation could have been something like, which one fits more people? And you're like, what? Like, are you talking about a sleeping bag, a tent, something else? You lost the context. So maybe you get lucky with the search API, but it's unlikely. You're just gambling that you'll find the right data. You don't really know.
Dude, I'll tell you this, when I did research in NLP, there is a word, they're called pleonastic words, like the word there's no way to figure it out without context, and LLMs make this so much nicer.
That's right. So what I'm going to do here is, this is a regular search service. Now there's this new API as part of search called Create Agent, which creates a knowledge agent. In this case, I'm saying I'm going to work with the one index called Contoso product, and here's the pointer at the LLM I'm using. In this case, I'm using GPT-4o. We calibrated prompts for GPT-4o, 4o mini, and 4.1 and 4.1 mini as well.
So hold on one second. We used to have these things called skills when you're doing the indexing. Is this something that's like analogous to that, but on the retrieval side?
It's a good, interesting way to think about this. Sort of, yeah, in the sense of we are using these external components that are already prepackaged, in this case an LLM, to make the pipeline smarter.
Okay, and by the way, for those that don't know what skills are, you have to index your data, and skills in Azure AI Search allow you to add additional stuff into the search index, which is really, really cool.
That's right.
All right. Sorry about that.
Now that we have this kind of knowledge agent, so what I'll do is I'm going to create a client. This is what this little line here does. And I'm going to we said we'll pass the agent a little chat history. So I have a short fake chat history here, so it's easy to read. And the conversation goes like, the user says, what are examples of popular tents? And the system maybe, through other grounding means answers, we have these Trailblazer and Skyview ones. And the user then asks, well, which one fits more people? So that's the full context of the conversation. When you run this, you can choose to pass the chat history, and the system will take advantage of the fact that we can see the multiple terms. So what you do is you call retrieve instead of search, and you can give us parameters for each index. So the result from this is not just top K results, because you could have branched the queries and whatnot. So we give you a bunch of grounding information that is written so that you can pass directly to a language model or like an agent of your own. Let me just dump the content. So it's what you can see is we found the passages that make the statement about how many people fit in each one of the tents, which is what the model needs to answer how many, which one can fit.
Hold on, can you go up for a second? Can you go for a second? There's something I just realized. Can you pass multiple indexes into the retrieval request? This is like the bottom of this one.
Excellent question. So right now you can pass one. Very soon you'll be able to pass many. And that's going to be really cool, because then you can bring multiple knowledge bases together. Yeah. It's going to get really interesting when we get there.
All right, sorry. So keep going.
Let's say you have an answer like this. Yeah. So let me. I apologize for this is an ugly line of code, but I wanted to dump all the results to show you a little bit of what just happened. So let me switch this to JSON so we can read it. So this is a raw response from the model, and I want to show you what's going on here. So this part here is just the answer you just saw. So this is what you pass to the language model. But you can also, we tell you how we got here, and you can use this for debugging, or you can use this to actually tell your agent how we got here, so it maybe can use this information. In this case, you can see that there were a sequence of events. First event was a query planning step. This is what we call the LLM. We even give you token count so you can see how many we burned. And then you can see that the model, the planner inside the LLM, decided to issue two queries. The first query was an Azure search query. This is the index. And it asked, give me the tent capacity for Trailmaster. And then it did a separate query. And it was like, give me the tent capacity for Skyview. So now we don't depend on there being a composite document, because the model branched the question, looked for the answer of each individual portion separately, and then it goes through kind of a ranking and combination phase that kind of brings all the content together. And you can actually see this playing out. If you run it on your own query, you'll see different plans in the activity list. So you can actually see how the planner decomposed the query and what corrections we made and whatnot.
This is really cool. I mean, I ran into this problem a lot beforehand when I was doing just the straight, question at the end, and it just never actually worked all the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and everybody's having to deal with this. So this is, we always think about these products as we want to shift the complexity to us when it's horizontal, when it applies to everyone. And this is an example where we can do better out of the box.
And the cool thing that I like is that, I mean, you said it was coming soon. I'm not going to force you to be like when, but the ability to actually have it look across multiple indexes, and then it decides which one is the important one, I'm guessing ostensibly by how it's described, makes this thing even more powerfully grounded in actual facts.
Yeah, I mean, what you're seeing of Agentic Retrieval right now is the very beginning. We have a lot of plans for this. We're excited. I think this is going to solve many problems for developers.
Well, this is awesome. Where can people go to find out more about this?
So we have this great blog post at aka.ms/agentrag. You'll see about the actual announcement, what the feature looks like, and we also link to a bunch of evaluations work if you want to look at the hard data.
So this is another question I want to ask before how do you know it works?
Yeah, well, so we have a good question. It's so easy to just put these things together and you go this sounds like a clever idea, but that's not enough. So we have a science team that does a lot of evaluations work, and we take a lot of data that models what real world data looks like, and we run formal evaluations on them. And we actually publish them. So there is this other aka.ms link that actually points at all the numbers. So we publish all the numbers and we publish the methodology we used to evaluate. So you can see the real hard data that supports the capability. That's how we know that it's going to work.
Is that what this link sends people to? Something that they can get to it from there?
That's right. aka.ms/AI search-AR evals.
Amazing. Well, this has been awesome, my friend. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
And thank you so much for watching. We're learning all about agentic retrieval in Azure AI Search, my friend Pablo. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care. All right, you just saw Pablo Castro talk about agentic retrieval. I thought that was really cool. Like, let me show you why. Let me go here to my picture in picture. The thing that was most interesting to me was this notion of an agent figuring out what to query, but in a distributed way. Right? So it could actually pick out a bunch of information that then could get aggregated by the LLM into a good answer. That to me was awesome. That's the awesome bit. The awesome bit. The awesomer bit, and Pablo said it's coming, is being able to do this across. I got to change the color. You got to change the color here. Okay. Got to change the color to yellow. Being able to do this across different indexes. The problem that I've always had is that in when you're trying to get to the right information for the thing to generate, it's being able to have data discipline. And I tell people this, I've seen this a lot. If you do not have data discipline, that undisciplinedness, kind of like my bad English, will get amplified by AI. Amplified. So, and this is super important. Like, if you think about it, it's kind of like, it's intuitive. And I mean, at least for me it is. Maybe you can tell me what you think. Your organization's data discipline will get amplified by using Gen AI. So if you're very disciplined, your Gen AI application is going to be just as disciplined or more, depending on how you do stuff. If you're undisciplined, yeah. So that's what I really liked about Pablo's stuff here, being able to do that. And then the demos that he did, the demo was super simple, but being able to do that stuff was awesome to me. This gets a gold star. No, a gold check. Gold check. Here, we'll even fill it out here. Well, good job. Gold check. All right. Coming up next, enhance your agents with computer using agents inside of Copilot Studio with my friend Eliza Benitez. Let's go to that right now. You're not going to miss this episode of the AI Show where we talk all about enhance your agents with Kua in Copilot Studio with my friend Eliza. Make sure you tune in. Hello, welcome to this episode of the AI Show. We're talking all about enhancing your agents with Kua in Copilot Studio with my friend Eliza. How are you doing, Eliza?
Yeah, I'm good, Seth. Thanks for having me on the show.
Fantastic. So tell us who you are and what you do for folks that have not had the pleasure of meeting you.
So I'm Eliza. I'm based in New Zealand. I'm a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft in the Power Platform Cloud Advocacy team. And we pretty much write some cool stuff for all the developers to learn from.
Awesome. And you work in Copilot Studio, right? For those that don't know what Copilot Studio is, can you give us a little elevator pitch for it?
Yeah, so Copilot Studio is where you want to go to build an agent, and you don't necessarily need to know programming or software development. It's basically there for you to quickly get started in building agents.
That's awesome. So Kua, tell us what Kua is and what is it trying to solve?
Yeah, so computer using agents is an amazing new AI capability of AI models. So we send them a prompt of a task to perform on the computer. And so the AI model will understand that and it will take that prompt and connect to the computer and perform that task using a mouse and keyboard. And the use case that I'm going to show today is to do with invoice processing. So,
Ooh.
invoice processing in a way where we extract the data from a PDF and then we enter that data into a new form onto something like a legacy app, and then we submit that form. And that's all using natural language as well as the computer using agent in terms of its AI model.
That's cool. So give me a sense for when when what problems in your mind are you like, oh, that you should totally use Kua for versus maybe not. What do you think?
So, Kua is great for any automation that you want to perform either on a web or an application, anything that has a graphical user interface, and it doesn't necessarily need to have an API. As long as it can connect to a machine and run that particular application, it can perform those tasks
That's
that you
awesome. So
instruct it to do.
that's awesome. And so effectively, like if I have a legacy system, for example, that has no API, I'm able to use Kua to interact with it in an automated way. Would you say that's a good use case?
Yes,
Awesome.
definitely.
So can you show us it? Can you show it to us working?
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. So, the first thing that I want to highlight is that computer using agents will run on Windows machines. So, you do need a Windows machine for the computer using agent to connect to. Now, the great thing about Power Platform is that you have the ability to create a hosted machine in the Power Automate Maker portal. So, zero infrastructure for any of your automated tasks that you need to perform. So, this is a machine that's hosted in the cloud. So once you create your hosted machine,
Hold on, let's pause, go back one second, because this
yes,
is the thing that
yes,
always confused me. If you can go back to the previous tab. So basically what's happening is you are, I thought it would take over my computer, but it's not. It's a virtual machine that's
yes,
doing stuff. Is that right? Because that's the one thing that I didn't have in my head. So it's a virtual machine that it's controlling. Is that right?
yeah, yes. So it can essentially run unattended, and we do that through what we call an autonomous trigger, which is what I'm going to show in the episode today.
Got it. And I have so many questions because this is like such an interesting technology that it makes sense that this is an automated process. It's using a machine behind the scenes, not in front of
Yes,
it. Okay, cool.
yes.
Sorry. Let's keep going.
So once you've created your hosted machine in the Power Automate Maker portal, there is one setting that you do need to enable. So I'm going to show you how to enable it. It's this setting right here. So once you enable your hosted machine for computer use, the computer using agent will be able to connect to it and then go ahead and run the prompt and perform the task. So once you set up your hosted machine, you're good to go. So I'm going to head over to Copilot Studio, and this is my agent that I've set up. And what I will show you next is how to build a tool. So you'll see when I scroll down here that I've already given it a description where we're going to use this agent for the purpose of invoice processing. So it's going to be able to transfer data from an invoice that it extracted from a PDF and then go into a different system and create a new invoice and enter the data that it extracted into that invoice and then submit it, all through the power of a computer using agent, which is an AI model. So, what we need to do is head over to Tools and I'll select Add a Tool. Now, tools in Copilot Studio allow you to perform advanced capabilities. First of all, we have over 1,400 connectors that you can select to quickly get started. So, connectors are wrappers around an API that allow you to perform actions. And one of the other tools that is now available as of Microsoft Build is a computer use tool. So, to do that, you need to select New Tool, and you'll see the option here of computer use. So when I select it, we're now going to go ahead and, oh,
Oh, so you probably already connected it up somehow, probably.
yeah. So let's just select add and configure. And I'll go ahead and give it a different name because
Okay.
here it's probably saying that, hey, we already have a tool with this name. So don't worry. I'm going to go ahead and update the name. There
This
we
is cool.
go. And the great thing about the product team is that they already have provided samples for the community to get started with computer use tools. So we're going to go ahead and apply this invoice processing scenario into the tool. So I'm going to enter the name, and then we're going to give it a description. And then this is where the magic happens in terms of providing a prompt for the task to be performed by the computer using agent. So what we're outlining here is that we are instructing the computer using agent to browse to a particular source, which is going to be like a legacy portal app, and we're going to filter it to display invoices from the last 24 hours, and it's going to open up a PDF of the invoice, and then it will go and analyze it and understand the data that it needs to extract and enter in the target source in order to fill out a form and submit that invoice.
Oh my goodness, that's
And
so cool.
so,
It's basically like the thing I dread the most, where it's like copy. Hold on, let me put our faces up so people can see. So it's get this piece of paper and copy the stuff in there and type it into a form over there, and this is going to do that for us.
yes, yes. So
Cool.
now when I
Cool.
click test, one of the fantastic things about the computer use tool in Copilot Studio is you can perform a test in real time. So while the computer use agent is creating a connection to that hosted machine that I showed you earlier, you will see a tag up here called Frontier, and it's a program by Microsoft where customers can get early access to advanced AI capabilities ahead of others. So that's what the Frontier program is about, which is what the computer use tool falls under.
I see.
So just to give you an overview on what you're seeing right here. So the instructions appear up here in terms of the prompt, and where you see activity is the computer use agent in real time performing the task, and it will update over time on the right hand side to show you what it is doing exactly on that hosted machine, on that Windows machine. So, because it's taking some time to analyze and build a plan for doing this automation, we've got a recording here that we can play back where I've sped it up by
Let's do it.
increase the speed. So it will basically, yeah, so we see it here. So
Yeah.
it's created a connection. It knows that it needs to launch a browser to navigate to that first source, which is that app where it can filter by invoices in the last 24 hours, open the PDF, and then go ahead and sign into the other legacy application and start entering that data. And then it's pretty much going to complete it, and you'll get a completion um, notification when it has finished its testing. So this is really cool,
Yeah,
right?
and
I
I'm going to
mean,
loop it
you're
again
you're
because
testing it in real time, and I'll show you shortly how you can review what exactly it's done in terms of the screenshots it took each time, what type of task it performed in each activity. It's really awesome.
so I looped this because I wanted to show, like, it literally opened a calculator to compute stuff. Did that go really fast? There it is.
Yes.
That's really cool. Mm,
That's because it's just verifying that the I guess the line item, as in the quantity, and the unit price, does equal the total amount that it should as per the invoice.
that's cool. So and you said you wanted to show us a little bit more. Let me get your screen up here so you
Yeah.
can show us here.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop this testing because we just did a playback. So I'm just going to select finish testing. And then I can go ahead and show you the rest in terms of how you would use your computer using agent with your overall agent by creating what we call a trigger. So I'm just going to delete this tool that we just created and I'll head back to the overview.
Hmm.
So as we scroll down in Copilot Studio, we have what you call triggers. So triggers, think of it as an event that needs to occur. Um, so with our with our agent, we can make it autonomous where it can execute a trigger and then go ahead and perform anything else that it has been configured to. So going back to the use case, I want my agent to run on a schedule. So once a day at a particular time. So that's where I can go ahead and select add trigger. And again, we've got thousands of triggers that you could choose from. And the one that I want to select is recurrence. So once you select that, you can go ahead and configure your automation in the Power Automate Maker portal. So here is where I have to find the interval, and the frequency and the time zone. So we all love time zones, right? So I can actually specify my local time zone and I can also specify at what time of the day, so including the hour and minutes. And then we have this particular action that will go ahead and send a prompt back to the agent to go and do whatever it needs to do. So again, going back to the use case, we're asking it to trigger that tool that we created so that it can go ahead and perform that automation unattended. So I'm not using my mouse, I'm not using my keyboard. That's the computer using agent doing it all for me. So I did run one earlier today, and we can see here that it has succeeded. And remember how I said that I would show you where you can see exactly what the computer using agent did? So to do that, we head over to activity. So that's going to give you that visibility, that transparency of what the computer using agent is doing. So this is the one that we kicked off earlier when we were
Hmm.
testing. And this is the one that ran automatically. So 9:12 a.m. So if I go back to the flow and show you that trigger, that's what I specified it to do. And so now when I select the particular activity and we switch over to the transcript, you can see
Oh, that's
right from
cool.
the beginning exactly what it applied and including the timestamps. So while it is unattended, you can still go back and review what it did, as well as, over time, if you want to iterate over your agent to make it better, you can do so as well as, once again, review it. So you do have that feedback loop essentially by reviewing the transcript. And yeah,
Yeah,
this is
that's
what I
really
wanted to
cool.
show you today. Like
Oh my goodness.
this is really awesome. And
Yeah.
yeah, can't wait for others to give it a go.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that the thing that stressed me out about computer usage, and just between us, betwixt us friends, is that it was like taking over a computer to do, but it's a VM, and you have
Yes.
100% visibility on exactly what it did, and then you can even say why, and if it made a mistake, it's a VM, and you can actually go and fix how the thing operates through the prompt. Is that right?
Yeah. And again, if you wanted to repurpose the hosted machine, so if I go back to Power Automate for, let's say, robotic process automation, and you want to spin up another hosted machine, all you need to do is just disable this, and it will no longer allow the computer using agent to connect to it. So again, like it's there for you through hosted machines that you provision through Power Platform as well.
All goodness. So where can people go to find out more, my friend?
Yeah, so we have an AKMS link that will show right here,
There you go. Put it right there. There you go.
where people can learn more. So I just want to highlight that this is available in the US region, and for customers who have purchased a certain amount of Copilot Studio messages, but it's all provided in that link down below. So
I love
please
it.
do check it out.
And then if folks want to give feedback, there's a little email link here that folks can use to provide feedback. Well, thank you so much for my friend. Any final words?
No, other than, yeah, kudos to Joe Fernandez and the rest of the team that worked away on
Amazing.
this. Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching and learning all about how to enhance your agents with computer use agents in Copilot Studio. My friend Eliza, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
All right, how about them apples from Eliza looking at computer use agents. One of the things that I'm like because I work in Azure AI Foundry, but I tell everybody, if you're trying to solve something, solve it the easiest way possible and then move your stuff down into code. So let me tell you what I'm talking. Let me see if I can tell you what I'm talking about. Got it. When it comes to AI, do the simplest thing. We're going to change color here. First, I cannot tell you, like, and maybe this is just a Seth thing. Every time when I was a brand new programmer, I would always think of, I need to solve everything. And then I got smarter and started buying. I grew up in the WinForms era, for FYI. Now I'm dating myself. I started realizing that I did not want to make a grid. So I just started buying things to make my life easier. And trying to solve problems the way other people had solved. Instead of reinventing, I'm not going to like do bubble sort every time. So when it comes to AI, my suggestion is, if you have a process that you want to solve with AI, start high. Start as high as you can. Copilot Studio. Incidentally, all of this platform, and there's a talk here. Let's see if I can find it. There's a talk here. Let's see if I can find it. At Microsoft Build. Let's see. Microsoft Build. That Kendra and I did. Let's see if we can find it. Let me bring this over. You're looking at my side face. Let's go to session catalog here, and Seth Juarez. Is this it? No, this is when her and I had a talk. She's fantastic, by the way. She's great. We should have her come on. Seriously, she's awesome. It was, oh wow, look at all this talk stuff I've done. Here it is, exploring the agent landscape. Exploring the agent landscape. I don't know if you can hear it. Is the sound coming through? Let's see if we can.
Well, thank you so much for joining us at the end
Look at
of
us.
the day.
Look at us go. But basically we talk about like what agents are. We talk about how to think about the bones of an agent, and then, for example, where to get started, right? So I'm Azure AI Foundry, and she is Copilot Studio. So, you know, I guess I'm a little bit country and she's a little bit rock and roll, or the other way around. I don't know. Maybe Copilot Studio is rock and roll and Azure AI Foundry is country. But the idea is that solve something in a way that everyone has already solved it, because going against the grain, I mean, I tell people, like, for example, if you're building a CRM app, if your business is to build CRMs, then you should build CRMs. But if your business is something else, you should just buy a CRM. Same thing with Copilot Studio, right? So she actually went through, and then I started showing how to use Foundry as well. And it's a fun talk, right? Because it was cool for us to finally do a thing together. So again, I digress. The idea here that Eliza was showing us is that she was able to do Kua quickly and easily using Copilot Studio. Okay, well, that about does it for us today. Next week on the AI show, let me bring this up here. Next week on the AI show, what's new in Azure AI Foundry with my friend John Maeda. By the way, he has a cool show called the Cozy AI Kitchen. You should take a look at that. It's all about AI. We work on the same team. His show's a little bit different than mine. I really love, like, our formula is probably pretty much the same, you know? What's the problem? What's the solution? Show us and tell us, show us, then tell us again, kind of thing. Because I love there to be crispiness when it comes to the story. So same for him. He tells it a different way. He has some really cool analogies that he uses, and I think the more opportunities you have to get exposed to this stuff, the better. So that would be what's new in Azure AI Foundry next week, June 3rd. Holy cow, June 30th already. Holy cow. And then the other half of the show, Scale AI Transformation with Azure Essentials, the AI Center of Excellence guidance. Now, this is cool, right? Because Cyril Belikov's going to come. He's awesome. Center of Excellences are interesting. I've seen this pattern because I talk to customers, right? And I started seeing a pattern, you know, at very large organizations where there's this notion of a center of excellence where people learn how to do AI things. And I think he's going to tell us a little bit about that. So I'm excited about it. Okay. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable, and spending it with us is a treasure and a privilege. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time on this, the AI Show.